Snow should be coming to an end for most of the listening area. The winter storm warning, though, remains in effect until midnight tonight for the listening area. Also, an ice storm warning is in effect until 6 a.m. tomorrow for deep southern Illinois, along with portions of southwest Indiana, southeast Missouri, and all of western Kentucky. Up to 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation is possible. Otherwise, cloudy tonight. We'll see a low near 17. Dangerous snowstorm conditions have made it difficult for crews to keep roadways clear across Illinois. Despite around-the-clock efforts from the Department of Transportation, most roadways across the state remain snow and ice covered in many places. The Illinois National Guard has been called to
was 2010, 2011, so it's been, 10 years. The National Guard was asked to help, and they're helping state police and
emergency kit. A Southern Illinois electric cooperative is providing mutual aid to help fellow co-op in need. Egyptian Electric, based in Murfreesboro, reports County Electric Cooperative headquartered in Breeze has requested mutual aid. This morning, Egyptian Electric sent 4 linemen to help with the Clinton County system, which is experiencing damages from high winds. Egyptian Electric primarily serves Jackson, Randolph, Perry, and Williamson counties. Well, the lingering winter storm has led officials at Southern Illinois University Carbondale to continue the campus closure through tomorrow. All classes tomorrow are canceled and will not be delivered remotely. Residential and residential dining centers will remain open, as will the Department of Public Safety. The rec center will 7 p.m. today. All of their campus buildings and offices will be closed. The normal campus operations are scheduled to resume at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Offices will be open and classes will be in session on Monday. Staff should report as regularly scheduled. The SIU women's basketball game will still be held, at least as of now, as scheduled, tomorrow at 6 p.m. You can check our full list of closings and cancellations online at wsiunews.org. WSIU News Time, it's 4:35.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Easy Cater, committed to helping companies solve food for work, from sales meetings to daily employee lunches, with online ordering and 24/7 support. Corporate food solutions at easycater.com. And from Klaviyo, working to help brands deliver personalized email and SMS campaigns that drive revenue and create genuine customer relationships at klaviyo.com/NPR.
This is All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Tamara Keith.
And I'm Ari Shapiro. The Biden administration says Russia is planning what's known as a false flag operation to justify a further invasion of Ukraine. Steve. On Ukrainian forces.
Well, it'll be harder for the world to believe whatever reasons Russia gives for taking military action against Ukraine. Secretary Liz Truss issued a statement. And they say all these allegations that they've been making have amounted to nothing. Ned Price got really defensive today when a reporter pressed him for evidence. Take a listen.
If you doubt the credibility of the U.S. government, of the British government, of other governments, and want to, find solace in information that the Russians are putting out, that is for you to do.
Of course, no one's finding solace in that, but he pointed simply to the fact that the Russians have a record of provocations and they have 100,000 troops practically encircling the country.
So as the language and finger pointing intensifies, is there still diplomacy going on with Russia? Are there still hopes for talks?
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. is trying to get Russia to pull back troops, de-escalate, and negotiate. But Russian President Vladimir Putin so far says the West has ignored his top concerns about NATO expansion and Ukraine. What the U.S. and NATO have offered to talk about are things like arms control and reciprocal steps that the two sides can take to increase transparency. But the U.S. is waiting for a formal response from Putin about that offer.
Is there a visible off-ramp? I mean, is there anything else the U.S. is doing that might plausibly convince Putin to back down?
Well, so far it's really about deterrence. The U.S. is threatening sanctions. It's moving troops to NATO's eastern flank. And it's working with allies. And, you know, the allies have been active too. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke to Vladimir Putin today. The French and the Germans have been trying to revive a deal that was meant to resolve the war in eastern Ukraine, and they are continuing with that process. And so there are diplomatic off-ramps open should Putin choose.
That's NPR diplomatic correspondent Michelle Kellerman. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a winter storm, the size of which is rarely seen. And the gusty winds, heavy snow, rain, and freezing rain is affecting millions of people in 25 states. Thousands of flights are canceled, many roads are impassable, and hundreds of thousands of people are without power. From Chicago, NPR's David Shaper reports.
Snowplows and salt trucks are out in force from Texas to Maine as a massive winter storm wreaks havoc all the way from the southern plains into the northeast.
This is a very large winter storm. So we're talking about tens of millions of people that are being impacted by winter weather hazards.
National Weather Service meteorologist Andrew Orison.
It's everything from heavy snow to areas of heavy sleet and freezing rain. So you're getting a lot of ice accumulations. And also the very cold temperatures, and we've seen a lot of cold air just in the last couple of days kind of pull across the northern plains and the Midwest area, and that's been funneling down to the south.
Driving conditions across a huge part of the country's midsection are dangerous. In the St. Louis area, snowplow drivers are having a hard time keeping up as strong and gusty winds whip the light snow into drifts and completely cover roads just minutes after they're plowed. Amy Bolin Lacey got stuck on Interstate 74 in central Illinois while trying to take
Saludos hasta Chicago, Illinois, saludos.
There's a bunch of semis in the ditches.
Lo que sea arriba, Chicago, Illinois.
And the ice, the roads are super icy. And so it's just us going that slow. It's crazy how the wind's pushing us.
In Wisconsin and elsewhere, there are reports of rare winter tornadoes.
Ahorita aquí vamos cruzando el sur de Chicago, vamos para Atlanta, Georgia. Pero tenemos que cruzar el sur de Chicago para llegar a ¿cómo se llama esta ciudad? Nashville, Tennessee.
The airlines saw this coming way in advance, and so they really had time to prepare. And the difference we're seeing is that they've canceled their flights preemptively.
And Banks says that's actually good news for would-be air travelers compared to other recent airline meltdowns.
We're seeing empty terminals. We're seeing terminals right now where there's nobody, instead of what we saw some of these other times, which were thousands of stranded passengers.
Sorry, quise decir el sur de Illinois.
As of early this afternoon, more than 250,000 people across the country were without power, more than half of them in Tennessee. In Texas, utility crews have been working around the clock to avoid the devastating widespread outages seen last winter. Jen Myers is with Dallas-based electricity provider Encore.
It's really an all-hands-on-deck situation. Our linemen are out there working 16-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, so there is always someone out there restoring power all across the area.
The treacherous conditions are slowing down first responders and making it more difficult to get to those in need of assistance. But a winter storm of this magnitude isn't all bad. At Gompers Park on Chicago's northwest side, some families are taking advantage of the freshly fallen snow to go sledding. Tammy Torok is one of the parents venturing out in the bitter cold.
I gotta say, I was debating about staying home, not gonna lie. Especially with two kids and trekking with two sleds and stroller and everything. But, you know, it's Chicago winter. You're gonna stay home every single day? You just can't. Kids need to have fun.
But to the southeast and northeast of here, winter storm advisories remain in place. Their cold temperatures in much of the country could keep all ice around for a while. David Shaper, NPR News, Chicago.
China has been separating Uyghur families and sending the children to state boarding schools. There, the children are taught Mandarin Chinese, Chinese political ideology, or what the U.S. has called cultural genocide against the Uyghur people. Today on our daily podcast, Consider This, we hear from 2 children who made it out. Thank you for listening to All Things Considered from NPR News.
You're listening to WSIU. This is In Focus. I'm Jennifer Fuller. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker talked with Lisa Labus about what actually is in it.
I know you listened to the governor's address earlier today. Let's start with it. What does the budget proposal look like?
Yeah, so Governor Pritzker says state finances look really good, like better than they have in a long time. And he's trying to paint a rosy picture and with that spend some more money in areas that he says have needed it for some time. Now, for example, early childhood education is set to get a $350 million in a couple of years. And part of what the state has already received was used to pay back money it borrowed at the start of the pandemic, and that was to make sure services weren't interrupted, things like that. It was also spent on COVID-specific things like shoring up testing centers and extended unemployment benefits. They also say the temporary tax relief measures we talked about are nothing more than election year gimmicks, and they don't actually address structural issues. State Senator Darren Bailey, for example, he's running against Pritzker. He called them a slap in the face, and he suggested making them permanent.
That's Illinois Public Radio State House Bureau reporter Alex Degman talking with WBEZ's Lisa Labus about the fiscal year 2023 budget proposal from Governor J.B. Pritzker. Illinois lawmakers get their chance to craft a budget as well. They'll continue that work through their spring session over the next several months. For In Focus, I'm Jennifer Fuller.